I woke, I was in my own bed, and it was almost as if the whole ordeal had never happened. Almost, I say, because Natty lay beside me, and Leo was dozing in my desk chair. These were not our usual sleeping arrangements. "Are you up?" Natty whispered. I told her that I thought I was. "Imogen said we should let you rest," Natty reported. "But Leo and me didn't want to miss it if you woke up, so we've been staying in here mostly." "What day is it?" I asked. "Thursday," she said. I had slept for 2 days. "Shouldn't you be in school?" "I already went. It's night." "Make that 2.5 days. Leo stirred in his chair. "Natty, you shouldn't talk. You'll wake." And then he saw me. "Annie!" Leo jumped into bed and wrapped his arms around me. "Oh, Annie, I miss you so much." He kissed my forehead and my cheeks. I laughed. "I miss you too." When I reached up to embrace Leo, I noticed that my arm was attached to an IV. "What's this?" I asked. Apparently, Imogen had declared me malnourished and dehydrated. "Poor Annie," said my sister. The next day, I wanted to go back to school. I was so behind, but Imogen wouldn't let me. "You're still too weak," she said. "I'm feeling much better," I assured her. "You'll feel even better on Monday," was Imogen's reply. I reminded her that she was Nana's nurse, not mine. Imogen did not find this argument in the least compelling. "Go back to bed, Annie." Instead of doing that, I decided to see how Nana was faring. I went to Nana's room and kissed her on the cheek. She immediately recognized me, which I took to be an encouraging sign. Maybe she was having one of her good days. "Hello, Agnieszka," Nana said. She squinted at me. "You're looking very thin." "Don't you remember? Imogen told you I was being questioned about a crime." "A crime? No, that doesn't make any sense. That wasn't you." "It was your father," Nana replied. "They thought I had poisoned a boy named Gabe Arsley." "Gable Arsley? That sounds like a made-up name. I've never heard of such a person." Nana waved her hand to dismiss me. "He was my boyfriend," I said. "You met him once." I stood to leave. Nana seemed agitated. I didn't want to end up with another slap across my face. "Annie?" Nana said. "Yes?" "Did Leo take that job at the pool?" I was surprised that she had remembered. My grandmother's mental health was more and more of a puzzle to me. I sat back down. "Not yet," I replied. "We've all been kind of occupied here." Good. "Because I've been thinking about that," Nana said. "I'm not sure it's such a great idea." Because I had nothing better to do. We debated the merits of Leo taking a job at the pool for a while. No new grounds there. Then I started to feel tired, so I told Nana I had to go. "We have a bar of chocolate, darling," Nana said. "And be sure to share it with someone you love." There's nothing in the world I wanted less than chocolate, and I knew the police had confiscated our entire supply anyway. Still, I went into the closet and pretended to retrieve a bar of chocolate for Nana's sake. Friday night, Scarlett was allowed to visit, and this was a welcome distraction. While I appreciated how concerned Imogen, Leo, and Natty had been for my health, their solitude made me feel like an invalid. I needed someone to behave normally around me. "So, what's been happening at Holy Trinity?" I asked after Scarlett had made herself home on my bed. Scarlett laughed. "Are you kidding? You're the only thing that's been happening. You and Gable." "Oh, that's just great," I said. "Seriously, it's all anyone could talk about." Scarlett crossed her legs. "With my inside information, I've basically been the most popular girl in school." "Congratulations." "Yeah, I'm sure I've made a lot of lasting friendships in the last 9 days," Scarlett said. You've got a ton of competition now. I thanked Scarlet for taking Natty to and from school, and then I thanked her for telling Win to go to his father. Win? I had nothing to do with that. Win went to his father on his own, Scarlet said. But you must have had something to do with it, I insisted. We talked about you, of course, Scarlet said, but he didn't tell me he was going to his father, and I didn't ask him to. I thought about it. Oh, don't look so surprised, Annie. Your silly best friend does think through things on occasion. I thought about it, but I didn't do it because I wasn't sure if it would be potentially make things worse for you. So why did Win do it then? We barely know him. Scarlet rolled her eyes. I'm sure you could come up with a reason. This was annoying me. I didn't like Owen Win anything. I especially didn't like Owen Win after the conversation I'd had with his father. Enough with the furrow brow. It's not some great mystery. He likes you, Annie. The only thing he wants is his lab partner back. And maybe a thank you. And maybe a date to fall formal. I sighed. Oh, poor Annie. The really cute new boy likes her, Scarlet teased. Her life is so tragic. She flopped dramatically on the bed. I was in a reformatory, you know, I reminded her. I know, she whispered. I was only teasing you. Her big blue eyes filled with tears. It was easy to make Scarlet cry. I'm so sorry about everything that happened to you. It's really terrible. I can't even imagine. I was just trying to make you laugh. I did laugh. Her expression was sweet and apologetic. When I came into the room, I couldn't believe how weak you looked. Natty had warned me, but... Was it horrible? Scarlet asked. I shrugged. I had no interest in rehashing my time at Liberty for Scarlet or anyone else. They got a tattoo. I pushed down my sock and showed her the barcode on my ankle. That is very hardcore, she replied. I pulled my sock back up. How's Gable doing? He'll live, I guess, Scarlet said. Chai Pinter heard that he had to have skin grafts on his face. The free toxin made parts of his skin fall off or something. Oh, God. Well, Chai isn't always the most reliable source. I don't even know where she's getting her information half the time. I think she makes most of it up. What Headmaster is saying is that Gable won't be back to school until next term at the earliest. He's in a rehab facility somewhere upstate, Scarlet said. He really almost did die, Annie. Do you think I should send a card, I asked? Or go visit? Scarlet shrugged. Gable was horrible. He was horrible to you. And sick Gable's probably even more horrible. She shrugged again. But if you must, I suppose I could come with you. You shouldn't go alone. Well, I didn't mean tomorrow. Maybe in November. I had a ton of schoolwork to catch up on, and I have plenty of my own problems right here. Leo came in. Hi, Scarlet! Natty said you were here. Leo gave Scarlet a hug. You look pretty. Scarlet was wearing sweatpants and a t-shirt, which was very dressed down for her. Her blonde hair was loose and tangled. She didn't have any makeup on either. Maybe that was what Leo found pretty? Scarlet had an excellent complexion, but was usually covered up. Why, thank you, Leo, Scarlet said. To tell the truth, I wasn't feeling very pretty. But after your compliment, now I do. Leo blushed. You always look pretty, Scarlet. I think you're maybe the prettiest girl in the world. Hey, I said. Your sister pretty, Leo said to me. Scarlet is pretty. Scarlet and I both laughed, causing Leo to blush even more. Imogen says, you should leave now, Scarlet, Leo relayed. Annie needs to sleep. All I've been doing is sleeping, I protested. She said you would say that, Leo continued. She said to ignore you. Scarlet stood up and kissed me on the cheek. I'll come for you Monday morning so we can go to school together. On the way out of my bedroom, she kissed Leo on the cheek, too. Thanks for the compliment, Leonard. Sunday afternoon, my uncle and Nana's stepson Yuri Balanchine, aka the head of the family, stopped by the apartment. Uncle Yuri was only about 10 years younger than Nana, and had a limp that I think Daddy had said was from a war injury. The limp had gotten worse since the last time I had seen him, as he is now confined to a wheelchair. Uncle Yuri visited Nana occasionally, but on that day, he wasn't there to see her, he was there for me. Uncle Yuri always smelled of cigars, and his voice was scratchy from years of smoking. He is flanked by several bodyguards. Jax, his son by the prostitute, and Mikhail Balanchine, his real son and heir. Uncle Yuri instructed them to wait in the hallway. Mikhail piped up, "Dad, can I stay?" "No, Mickey, you leave too," Uncle Yuri said. "I have a private matter to discuss with my niece." I sat on the sofa. "Little Anya," Uncle Yuri said, "you've gotten to be quite the beauty. Come closer. Let me look at you, my darling." I leaned forward and he stroked my cheek with his hand. "I can remember the day you were born. How proud your papa was." I nodded. "Leonard, God rest his soul. Thought you were the most beautiful baby alive. I didn't see it myself, but now it's clear he knew what he was talking about," Uncle Yuri sighed. "I'm sorry I don't come to see you in Galena more often. This apartment has many sad memories for me." "For all of us," I reminded him. "Yes, of course," Uncle Yuri said. "How thoughtless of me. For you even more than me. But today, I come about another matter. I wanted to discuss the incidents with a young man." "Gable Arsley, you mean?" "Yes," Uncle Yuri said. "I wanted to apologize for not intervening last week. The connection to Balanchine chocolate made most of our contacts in law enforcement run cold. Had I intervened, a word that you might be come upon to the DA's office. The man is in charge there is new, and we don't yet know if he is a friend to us." He's talking about Wynn's father. "It worked out in the end," I said. "I want to assure you that you were never far from my thoughts. You are the daughter of Leonard Balanchine, and you would not have been left to rot in prison." I nodded, but said nothing. But these were nice words, but only that. I could tell exactly what you're thinking. Nice words from the old man. But what good do they do me now? Uncle Yuri leaned in closer. "I can tell you're a bright girl. You have sharp eyes, like your father." "Thank you," I said. "You keep everything inside like him. You don't give away too much." "I admire that," Uncle Yuri said. "I admire that restraint in someone so young. I wonder if he'd still be saying that if he had seen me with lasagna on the first day of school." "I'm ashamed," Uncle Yuri continued. "I feel that this family has failed you. I feel that I have personally have failed you." Uncle Yuri lowered his head and lowered his voice. "I want you to know that there are larger forces at play here. Dark things beyond my control. I must get to the bottom of this matter with the chocolate, and then I can work on making amends with you. Your siblings as well." He held out his hand for me to shake, which I did. "I like you, Anya Balanchine. It's a shame you are not a boy." "So I could be dead at 45 like my father, you mean?" I asked him in a low voice. Uncle Yuri didn't respond. I wasn't sure if he even heard me. "Would you mind wheeling me down the hall to Galena's room? I'd like to visit my stepmother before I depart." On the trip down the hall, he asked me how Nana was faring. "Depends on the day," I replied. "Uncle Yuri, there was talk of my brother coming to work at the pool." "Yes, I had heard something like that." "I'd rather he didn't." "You worried that we will corrupt him?" Uncle Yuri asked. "You have my word that the only thing that will happen to your brother is the receipt of a nice paycheck for an easy day's work. We will take care of him. He will never be asked to do anything dangerous or be put in harm's way. I had heard he had lost his job. Giving him a temporary one is the least we can do, yes?" Uncle Yuri certainly made me feel better about the whole matter, better than Jax had. And considering how delicate Nana's condition seemed, and how potentially delicate my legal situation was, it would definitely be better for Leo to at least have the appearance of being gainfully employed. Not to mention, I had no idea what the situation at the animal clinic would resolve itself, especially now that Mr. Kipling wasn't able to work on it. How was he anyway? Uncle Yuri and I reached Nana's room. I opened the door and called out, "Nana, are you sleeping?" "No, Christina." "Come on in," she said. "It's not Christina," I said. "It's Annie." "And guess who I've got with me?" "Your stepson, Yuri." I wheeled Yuri into the room. "Ugh," Nana said to him. "Yuri, why have you gotten so old and so fat?" I happily slipped out the door. Mickey Balanchine was standing in the hallway outside Nana's room. "You probably don't remember me, but I'm your cousin," he introduced himself. "Who isn't?" I joked. "It's true. Every time I meet a girl I like, I have to check and see if she's related to me first," Mickey said. Mickey Balanchine was on the short side, only an inch or two taller than me. His hair was so blonde, it was almost white, and his skin was equally fair, except for the freckles across his nose and cheeks. In contrast to his skin and hair, he was dressed entirely in black. His suit was very well tailored, and even looked new. Though, I can't say for sure, his boots may have had a little heels on them to make him a little taller. "I've been wanting to meet you for some time," Mickey said. "Now that you're all grown up, I mean. When I was a teenager, I used to run errands with your father. I've been in this apartment on many occasions. I've even seen you naked, little Anya." He pointed down the hallway to the bathroom. "Right now, bathroom. Right in that room. Your mother was giving you a bath. I accidentally walked in." That was too much information. "So," Mickey continued, "what did you and the old man talk about?" "Nothing," I thought. But that was none of Mickey's business. "I suppose if it concerned you to know, he would have told you himself," I said. At that moment, Jax came down the hallway. "What's going on here?" he asked. "Just having a conversation with my cousin," Mickey replied. "She's my cousin too," Jax said. "Maybe," Mickey said. "What's that supposed to mean?" Jax said. "What are you trying to say, Mikhail? That I'm a bastard?" His eyes were blazing, and I swear I could smell the testosterone coming off him. He lunged at Mickey, but Mickey stood firm. It became obvious to all of us that Jax didn't have the Yastros. "Oh, Jackie, relax," Mickey said. "You're embarrassing yourself in front of my cousin." "Annie, could I have a word with you?" Jax asked. "Speak," I said. "Alone," Jax specified. "It seems no one wants to talk in front of Mikhail today," Mickey commented. I ignored him. I have never responded to that sort of childishness. Besides, I had things I wanted to say to Jax, too. "Let's go out onto the balcony," I said. The balcony was just off the dining room. You could see Central Park and even part of Little Egypt. It must have been a nice view once. My cousin got right to it. "Look, Anya, I'm sorry about the chocolate. I had no idea it had been laced. I honestly thought I was doing Galena a favor by bringing it over." "I appreciate you saying that," I told him, "because here's how it looks to me. You brought that chocolate over extra early to ensure that my whole family died from eating it." "No," Jax said. "I have no interest in poisoning any of you. What could possibly get the gain from that?" "I have an idea, Jax, but it's how it looks to me." Jax ran his fingers through his hair. "You probably know this without me having to say, but I'm low in the organization. No one tells me about anything. I had no more warning than you that the chocolate was poisoned. You have to believe me. Why do you care if I believe you?" He lowered his voice. "Because things are a-changing in the family. The chocolate scare was just the beginning. The perception not saying that I agree, but the perception is that Yuri is weak. I think the poisoning was the move of a rival family. Like who? Jack shrugged. I'm only speculating here, but it could be the Mexicans or the Brazilians. Even the French or the Japanese. Any of the big players in the black market chocolate biz. There's not enough information to narrow it down. My point is, you could bring heat on me, Anya. You haven't. I don't know why, but I appreciate it. Now, I wanted you to know that I would never do anything to hurt you or your siblings. Thanks, I said. Truth was, I believed Jax hadn't been trying to poison us, but only because he was too weak to organize, or even be informed of, such a large operation. Second truth was, I wanted to move on from all this, and the less I heard from my relatives, the better. So, we're friends? Jack said, offering me his hand. I shook it only because we had been more awkward not to. Jax was not my friend. It had certainly not escaped my notice how scarce he had made himself during my legal troubles. Such behavior didn't exactly seem friendly to me. After my relatives had left, I spent the rest of the day doing homework, and before I knew it, Sunday was over. Around 9 o'clock, I heard the phone ring. Addie knocked on the door. It's Win, she said. Tell him I'm asleep. But you aren't, Addie said. And he called yesterday, too. I stood up from my desk, and I flipped off my light. I'm sleeping, Addie, see? I love you, Annie, but I don't approve of you right now, she said. I heard her return to the kitchen. I could barely make out the sound of my little sister lying for me. I lay down in my bed and pulled the blanket up to my chin. The night air felt like fall. I knew that nothing Charles Delacroix had said to me really mattered. And yet, I also knew that it did. Daddy always said that an option that you know to have a bad outcome is only ever fool's option, i.e., not an option at all. And I like to think that Daddy hadn't raised a fool.